Well, kia ora, all former classmates back again for another episode of Where Are They Now? Now, your next classmate, some of you might not have seen in a long time. I haven't seen him in a wee while, actually. Was quite close with this fella, another one of our rural farmers from Taihape. A bunch of his whānau went to the college, and what a great influence they were at school too. Enough of that. It's time to introduce your mate and mine. A big kia ora to Bryce Devane. Hey, Bryce, how are you, mate?
Hey, Huge, how's things?
Very well, and awesome to catch up with you, man. It's been been a few years since I've seen you. Now, mate, you were one of our Taihape farmers amongst a whole bunch of them that came to school. Now, quickly before I ask you some questions, we had some good times. I was fortunate enough to come on to your farm, spend some time up there, man. I thought I was the hardest chorus farmer in the world from Upper Hutt. I remember it. I think I rode my first motorbike on your farm. I remember an epic party that you hosted on the farm in the wool shed, and we all went up there on the buses, and we just thought it was the best thing ever. But mate, it's wonderful to see you, Bryce. And how you been, man?
Yeah, no, very good. The farm's still there. I think Justin McCarthy would have he mentioned that the other day when you're interviewing him. Like, still the farm's next door, which I'm a partner in that business, but my younger brother manages it all. So Dad's still there, and the wool shed's actually still there where we did have that party. I actually don't remember a lot about that party, I'd have to say, but unfortunately. But I remember the next day when I was in quite a bit of trouble, though. But it's all still there.
Oh, awesome. Well, I think I remember you had your brothers all attend the same school with us. You had Scott, Vince, and Lance. Is that right?
Yeah. So they, we would have all been there at the same time, but I actually left after sixth form, so that sort of I might have stopped that one, but there were reasons for that, so which I might even have talked about later. But yeah,
absolutely. Well, let's kick into it. Look, recap your years for us, Bryce. What made you come to Stream? How many years were you there, which you've just mentioned? And do you remember your first bay, and who were your bay mates when you were boarding up there in Redwood?
Yeah. So when I guess I was always going to end up going to Silverstream. It was kind of one of those things from up in that area in Taihape where we lived. Justin and I had gone to school together, and I guess that's what we just always knew that's where we were going to go. All our cousins went there, and it was sort of almost like a rite of passage, really. So I did want to go, I just didn't want to be the odd one out. But I was fortunate enough, I'd gone to another school, like a prep school, I think it was called, in Martin, called Huntley, and I went there for a year. So when I was there, I actually met Andrew Cording and Hugo McNaught. So they, so when I turned up at Silverstream, there was three guys there I already knew, and I'd been a year boarding as well, so I'd sort of got used to being away from home and that sort of thing. So I was reasonably fortunate there. But trying to think who was I was in base 6, and I can't tell you exactly who was in there, but I know it's Fiji was in there. Greg Toms, and I think Glenn Bunny might have been in there, and I think Dan Delkey, and it might have been maybe Matt Moen and James Cosgrove. But there was a guy next to me, and I cannot think what his name was, but they called him Rompost because he had red hair, and there was another guy that was a senior that had red hair, so he instantly got that name. But he was quite into his army and all that sort of thing. But I think Connor Downey or something like that. I'll probably be able to remember who the guy's name was, but yeah, I can't think of it.
What an amazing memory you got. And you just mentioned a name I haven't heard of in ages, Dan Delkey. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Bryce, what did you do your first year after you left Stream, or when you left Stream, what did you do immediately after?
Yeah. So I suppose I was alluding to that a little bit before. I guess I'll probably had a bit of time to think about all this, having heard everyone else sort of tell their stories, but for me, at the end of sixth form, the road had run out for me a little bit. Like all the subjects I was doing weren't offered in seventh form, and I was probably just journeying along, I was quite enjoying doing the sort of more practical things like the workshop technology and the sort of drawing and that sort of stuff. But it just I'd done the everyone thought it was funny, but the math studies, I think I did for sixth form. So I think then I was like, well, how am I going to go and pick up calculus and that sort of thing for seventh form? I probably could have, but I didn't really want to. So I talked to parents about it, and they were like, well, it's going to be expensive having everyone there, and there's no point you being there if you're just going to float along. So I was just going to go home and start working on the farm and looking for jobs up around Taipi. And I was actually at the time, I didn't like it, but Mum was probably right. She said, "Oh no, if you're going to do that, you still got to do a paper or something just to keep your hand in on the sort of educational side of it." So it was actually Des Boyle that actually helped me with that. He was a long-time family friend of Mum and Dad's, and he actually stays. Him and his wife Claire stay in contact with Dad quite a bit, and he sort of helped to organise what was provisional entrance, it was called, to go and to do this paper at university. And I was sort of just going along for the ride with it all, but it wasn't until about probably January of the next year that I actually got the letter, and it said I could actually go to university. So I sort of talked about it, and I had an older cousin, Simon Devane, that was I sort of kicked around with quite a bit up there, and he was going to Massey, and he said, "Well, why don't you just come along?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I sort of, next thing you know, I was when I should have been seventh form, I was at Massey University doing a business studies degree in agribusiness. So that's what took me along for the first year where I probably should have still been at school. I was actually at university, so I was probably in a bit over my head, but I got through it all, so it was good.
Oh, good on you, mate. And speaking of that math studies class, I was in their class, and Tony O'Connor was taking it. Man, I even struggled in that. So maths was certainly not for me. Now, quick mention of your lovely parents, and I had the pleasure of meeting them many times. And I know your mum has been passed for many years now. I hope may she rest in peace. How's your father doing?
Yeah, no, he's good. Well, he was a bit crook there a year ago, but he seems to bounce back all the time. So he just turned 80 there last year. So and he goes out and helps my brother on the farm and keeps out of trouble up there. So no, he's good. Thank you.
Well, God bless you, Bruiser. You're a legend. Now, occupation. What do you do for a job?
Yeah, so I'm a rural finance manager. So I've been doing that for about 15 years now. So I guess the simplest thing of the job is I've got about 60 or so farmer clients that I deal with, and I guess I've just got to keep an eye on them, do a lot of reporting for the bank around how everything's going. But sort of working with a lot of them that maybe those that are struggling a little bit to help them to get back on their feet again, and for those that are looking to expand, sort of working with them about how that might happen, so that when opportunities come up, they're able to strike.
That's wonderful, Bryce. I think you'd be really good at that type of job. Now, a couple of quick fire ones. Tell us, are you married with children?
Yeah, so married to Tammy. We've been married for, I think, 11 years now, and 3 boys. So I've got Bodie is 10, Hudson, he's 8, and Preston is 6.
Wow, awesome names.
Yeah, I think I heard Jamie Williams say he's got a Bodie as well. So yeah, it's funny when you hear some of that stuff.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be wrong, but your wife Tammy, was she a Hurricanes or rugby cheerleader?
Oh yeah. She's quite into her dancing and that sort of thing. So she was doing a I think it was for the Manawatu Turbos here a couple of years back. And she'd done a bit of dancing at some of the All Black tests and that sort of thing when they do shows before the games. Yeah.
Well, no surprises you're a match there, because I remember you were quite handy on the dance floor, Bryce. You had a few moves yourself.
Yeah, probably. I would say Dutch courage for that one, huge maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Where do you live now, Bryce? Where's home?
Yeah, Palmerston North. So it's good for us. It's obviously where my work is, but it's not too far away for me to head up to Taipi, and then it's not far for Tammy's family to head back down to Lower Hutt, where she's actually from. So no, it's good.
Awesome. Now listen, you've been watching the videos of the rest of the guys in your year group. Look, what have you thought of the video so far, and have you enjoyed catching up with what others have had to say?
Oh yeah, it's great. sort of been watching them at home at night, and I just all of a sudden I'm laughing away about something, and Tammy would say, "What's so funny?" And I try to tell her the stories, but she doesn't quite get it because she wasn't there. But I had to, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, I had to send a text to Greg Short last night, just when he was talking about that maths exam. I just remembering that I was actually there with him when that happened, and then there was a couple of other fellas that were actually involved in that as well, but they didn't get mentioned either. But we won't use their names, but one might have a energy saving business in Auckland, the other one might be a doctor, so they might have to thank Shorty for where they got to, where they were with with that fourth form maths exam.
Could be a quiet bear for the boys.
Yeah, I think they might have to shout him.
All right, here's a question for you. Is there anything of your time at Silverstream that sticks out for you? A particular memory, whether it be the boarding hostel, a teacher, an event, a sports event, anything at all? Is there, for you, what would that be? What would you share with us?
There is one. It's quite, obviously I've heard a lot of the stories, and I just had time to think, and this one keeps on coming up. And it was when we were, I think we were fifth form, and there was a group of us. It was a Saturday night. There must have been no parties on or something, and so we were a bit bored. So we decided to sneak out. And I know you yourself were with me. You, me, I think Chris Fooey, and I don't want to miss some of the names, but I'm pretty sure Scott Jensen and Andrew Blumen.
Are you talking about when we snuck around the back up the river, headed towards Trentham somewhere?
Yeah, so we I think Chris must have had some what were they called, pub pets or flagons, and he'd stashed them. I think he'd got them from the Mangatinoka Brewery or something, and he'd stashed them under his bed. So we went up, and because we were like 15 going on 21, and up to the Totra Lodge and just bowled on in and filled these things up from the from in there, and we didn't get ID'd, we just paid for them. Out we went, and we all sat over in a picnic table at Trentham Memorial Park and drank the whole lot of it. And it was just, I suppose, reflecting on it, it was quite funny. It was probably one of the first times I'd actually just sat around with a group of fellas and drank a few beers and just talked yarns and that sort of thing. We'd sort of go to parties and we'd all run around all over the place and get back to school quick as you could and that sort of thing. But it was really just some of the stories that guys came out with about where they'd come from and what they'd done, and it was pretty special, really. And then we had to get back to school, obviously, and then on the way back, I think probably the old silly juice had kicked in a bit, and we must have tried to take a shortcut through a couple of people's houses, which really wasn't the smartest thing to do. And I suppose we just had to jump on a couple of trampolines and that sort of stuff as well, which really was even sillier. And then, because we got back to school, and there'd been some complaints had gone in, and Brother B knew about it. And then the next day, he asked everyone that had been in that area who'd been up there to own up. So we all went and owned up, and I thought I was just going to get the cane again. And then he said, "No, you've got all these hours." Like, it was like having periodic detention. I think it was something crazy, like 100 hours or something of work we had to do around the school, and we were gated until we actually got it all done. So we had to, I remember having to get up every morning an hour before everyone else to sweep the concrete and do all this sort of stuff, and then do work at night to get my hours up, and then work all weekends. We worked from 6 in the morning to about 9 at night on a Saturday to try and get all these hours done so we were allowed to go out again. But it was quite funny because we'd all had this funny night out, but then we were actually all stuck together having to do all this work with each other. So even though it was probably a form of punishment, it actually turned into quite a special thing.
What an amazing memory you have. Incredible.
Yeah, well, for things like that, yeah.
All right. Hey, listen, that's blown me away. You've got a good memory there. Do you keep in touch with anyone from our year at all?
Not heaps, if I'm honest. I see Justin quite a bit because up at the farm, and I'd seen a bit of Richard Elworthy too. I'd see he was on the email list there because his brother and my sister-in-law were married, so sort of see each other at family events and that. And I guess, a couple of years ago there, I was heading up to to Auckland, and we're just on a family holiday. So I actually looked up Andy Logue and Connor Downey, and actually managed to catch up with both of them, just to sort of reconnect in that. So and that was it was really good. And then Connor and I have actually caught up a couple of times since. He sent me a message there around Christmas time. We caught up for a beer, so it was really, really good.
Oh, good. Yeah, lovely of you to mention Connor. Good mate. Now, are you thinking that you might be able to come and join us at the event at the end of July?
Yeah, no, I'm hoping to. I've just got a couple of things I've got to sort out. So I'll in contact with you about it. Eh?
Yeah, please sort it out, because we'd love to see you, mate. And I know the rest of the guys would love to catch up with you too. All right, well, we're at the end now, and like we end with most videos, these are going everywhere and the boys are watching them. Have you got a message for the rest of the guys in your year group that will be watching this video?
No, it's just I just encourage the others that haven't done this video thing to do it, because it is really cool to see what people are up to. And I suppose I've got a special thank to Chris Fooey and that for the way he spoke. I thought it was brilliant, how honest he was in that. And I know Jamie made mention of that. It's pretty cool, eh? So it would be really cool to catch up with quite a few people and just hear the stories about what people have been up to, and maybe we can dig up some of those old stories and have a laugh about them.
Well, I think we'll be coming to you in that memory of yours for sure when that occurs. But thanks for mentioning Brother Foo and his interview. But listen, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man, and can't wait to catch up with you, Bryce. And thanks, brother. Great to see you.
No, good, Scott. Thanks, huge.
Thanks, bro.